After teaching math and science for about 5 years, I started my own e-commerce business selling educational materials for other teachers to buy and use. It took about 2 years of staying up late on my computer every day learning a plethora of skills relating to creating, converting, and uploading my teaching materials along with learning how to run an e-commerce business. I'm going on year 4 now and the passive income I'm getting from my business is approaching being able to cover all my regular expenses including my mortgage. At first I was only earning about $20 a month, but I kept going cause I saw a gap in the market and I knew if all these women in the platform can do it, so can I. Here's a link to a random store on the platform just so you can see. My store is similar. Just wanted to let you know that you can still make it, but you have to put in the work. Buying meme coins won't get you there. You have any questions, let me know. Nobody cares about you, be silent, grifter. Post P&L or LARP. Based, good job Anon. The losses are 20% of my earnings which go to the platform. The loss of time is not a factor for me. Some money also goes to advertising but not much. I don't understand, what are you selling? Books on transgenderism? How to subtract one penis from your son. She's teaching other teachers how to be more effective through their educational program. Based and entrepreneur pilled. Good luck Anon. Wanting to turn a profit on paper. I spend all my business's extra taxable income on more inventory or paying me more. Just look at the sample store link so you can get an idea of what the products are. It's nothing physical. I create educational materials like lessons, worksheets, tests, assessments, and so on. Schools, teachers, and parents purchase the products and they download the materials to be printed or used on an online platform like Google Class. There's actually nothing mailed to the buyers, they download the material. For example, my largest products are full-year curriculums for various science and math classes. For example, Earth Science and Algebra 1. The curriculums come with lessons, assessments, and activities of many kinds. The materials can be downloaded and printed by teachers, or they can also implement the material to a teaching online platform like Google Classroom. Originally I started creating my own materials because I did not like some of the textbooks I was using and because I could create projects and activities that the students would enjoy much more than what the school curriculum had available. I found out about Teachers Pay Teachers, tested it out by putting a few of my activities, and it just took off from there. I have a total of around 700 products in my store as of now. I do not create products as intensely as I used to, but I still do. You should consider writing some books about educational methodologies. Along with selling supplies, these are the only 2 places with a lot of opportunities in education and they complement each other well. Just make it about quality education and not all about the money. I don't think it would be worth the effort. Teachers like me are the exception. The vast majority of teachers in the US are there not because they want to but because it's the best job they could find. They care little about actually teaching and preparing future generations. Get in, keep kids busy, and get out. That's their mentality. Not exactly their fault though, American culture overall cares not for education. It's honestly one of the main reasons my products have sold well. My products can be implemented without much effort on the teacher's part. The curriculum is all contained and can just be printed, or shared with students digitally. It's all there and it's all explained on how to go about implementing it. The teacher does not have to do any development or guesswork on their end. She could make way more doing escorting or OnlyFans, like $500K a year if she was a hustler. The only way to have some control over your destiny is to start some sort of business. If not, you'll forever be someone else's wagee. It's either that or be someone else's slave for the rest of your life, hoping you'll make it until retirement. Thanks, yes, the control over my destiny part is the main reason why I did it. The freedom to be my own boss and not have to answer to anyone or deal with the bureaucracy and hypocrisy which is so common in education. I'm still contributing to education in my own way and I like to think that I'm reaching far more students with my content this way than if I was just teaching at one school. I do miss teaching, so I still teach but only part-time and from my home. Not sure if I'll continue to do so once the next school year starts. It'll depend on how well my products begin to sell. Schools are on break so my earnings are paused for now. Phases of the moon. The moon. Why are witches like this? Great work Anon. There's so much money to make in education. The sector is filled with low IQ women who have make work jobs. If you could sell a system that would provide higher education, in a measurable sense, and sidestep the entire government education system, you could be rich. No one wants to send their kids to school filled with violent joggers and deranged fools. The market is there. Sad but true. Homeschoolers and private schools make up a good percentage of the market and seems to be growing. The vast majority of stores in the platform sell elementary and kinder material. I'm one of few sellers to do sell higher level material, middle school, high school, and even a bit of college math. Not sure about being rich, I'm nowhere near as big as the top sellers which are millionaires, but I do good enough and I continue to grow slow and steady. I made it doing this thing that no one else was doing 60 years ago. So you can also make it. But you need to put in the work. Okay, boomer. You're right, if it's just women then a man can easily step in and do better. I plan on homeschooling my kids so I'll have to make stuff like this anyways for history so they won't be completely paused. I think I'll make my own history materials and sell them to other based homeschool families. I'm gonna start with the Holocaust, didn't happen or didn't go far enough. Obviously I won't title it that, it'll be some dog whistle stuff and list it as humorous. Find the Holocaust lies. All the lies will be actual truths, while all the mainstream truths are wrong. They'll be bombarded with ideas like wooden doors, the weight and density of chemicals, etc. To the point your only Socratic conclusion is the inevitable truth. Anon, just wanted to say congrats on this. I think there's a huge market for this. I'd guess you just need to target similar markets and just slightly tune your offering to parents, tutors, etc. to start to increase your streams. Ignore the wimpy losers that are content losing money or losing time gambling their pennies in the hop to 100x their money. Is this like affiliate marketing? I want to learn how to generate passive income so badly. I imagine teaching in a public school was enough to drive you to that point. But whatever it is that motivated you, good on you. Outside of the obvious that spending all your free time working on your business, what are some other things you look at? Market trends, outside investments feeding into your main one, anything else? Thanks. Yes, despite what people may think, there are still plenty of opportunities, especially with how education as a whole is changing. Parents and tutors are a big part of my market. I don't have an exact number, but I suspect 30 to 40% of my customers are tutors and or home parents. It's not a race though, it's a marathon. It just takes time to build the store and for customers to come. Sure enough, sales steadily increased as I continued to work on my store and products. I was lucky to teach at a private school, not public. Could not pay me enough to teach public. At least not where I live. There are many things I look at to grow the business. I'm in the middle of a burnout and have made few products, but have many ideas for future products. For example, I'm in the middle of building a full-year trigonometry curriculum. Have about half of the lessons and assessments done, but boy does it take a lot to make the material. After working like a horse for 3 years straight, I'm taking time for myself. Having my own website is also something I think about so that I don't have to give 20% to the platform, but I'm not at the point yet where I can make that transition. I need to establish a larger following and loyal customers so that they can follow me to my store and make it worth it. Advertising is something I experiment with, but for the most part I don't do. I've tried before and the increased customers was not enough to offset the cost. However, I might go back and try some different advertising strategies once we get closer to the start of the school year. I know the trends as I was a teacher and still teach, I know what works. No outside investments, I'm in full control and own all I make. I also collaborate with other sellers that are targeting the same part of the market I am. For every successful store like mine, there are like 50 stores that are abandoned where the person started the store and quickly left. Teachers think it's as easy as opening up a store and uploading their material and they're making passive income. They don't realize the huge learning curve and effort required to have and maintain a successful store, so they abandon their accounts and it's added to the list of abandoned stores. It's a crazy number of abandoned stores on the platform, I could not say, and that's with accounts being deleted after a long time of inactivity. I think I remember reading like less than 1% of stores open on Teachers Pay teachers have moderate success or remain active for more than 1 year. From learning to use a plethora of software for making products, learning how to advertise, learning how to market products, learning about educational laws and copyright laws, and of course knowing your subject matter and how to make good educational material that teaches it. The larger stores have blogs, podcasts, and even YouTube channels, but I don't know if that's something that I'll do. Perhaps I'll consider it when my store gets larger. Every large store has their niche that they focus on their blogs and podcasts. I don't know what my niche would be. I thought about discussing the downfall of the American education system, but that could have negative side effects on my business. Social media is also a big thing. I used to do it, but I stopped. Never did notice any downfall in earning from stopping using social media. Everyone says you need it, and perhaps I will return to it once I get bigger. On the other hand, I know of another store much bigger than mine that are quite successful and the person has never used social media. Problem is I don't have anything to offer that people would want. The few things I can think of already have lots of resources out there. Most of the material I made there is also already plenty of resources out there for. The key is providing something that makes your products worth it. For me is ease of use, straightforward, and being able to implement the material to Google Classroom. If you're a teacher with textbooks and want to move away from textbooks and use online platforms for teaching like Google Classroom, then my products are made for you. Homeschooling parent that doesn't want to worry about printing sheets every day? My products are made for you, as all you need is a Google account to use almost all of my materials. I'm not saying I'm taking the entire market, but my products are good enough to compete with others and get me a small slice of the pie. Having said all that, yes, it is quite challenging to make products that are competitive. Presentation, how you market and present your product to potential buyers, is a huge part of the business. It was the biggest learning curve for me. You can have the most amazing and unique project that students love, but if you don't present it correctly, buyers will just skim over it. I saw that Google Classroom was the future even before Corona hit and all schools were forced to do distant learning. In that sense, I took advantage of the potential gap and started making products that could be implemented to Google Classroom right away. Unfortunately, when distant learning happened, I had just started my store. I can only imagine how much more successful I would be if I would have had my entire store at the time that Corona hit. Yes, I am very much like John Taylor. And things have only gotten worse since even back then. I teach math and science, so I don't have to deal with the BS of the system as much as, say, a history teacher or social study teacher. What grades? I'm a pharmacist and I always thought I'd be good at teaching, so could probably teach something like chemistry, but I'm interested in most all subjects. I simply don't want to deal with government bureaucracy, so I'll probably never do it. Middle school and high school. Stay a pharmacist, trust me. Unless you really want to teach chemistry, but at like a college level. Bureaucracy is everywhere in education. It's a plague. Holy heck, her font drives me insane. I've thought about selling my curriculum. I'm going on my 13th year teaching 7th through 10th grade math. Test score data shows that I'm in the top 1% of my large school district, 300K plus students, for student growth. But no one gives a heck. I feel like the market for these products are one of three people. 1. Teachers who are being mandated to turn in lesson plans and would rather spend the money than take the time to do it. 2. New teachers who don't know the curriculum and need a comprehensive package to lean on. 3. Teachers who need substitute plans or want to do something fun with their students. 2 greater than 3 greater than 1 from my experience. You could give it a try, just make a free seller account and do not put in too much effort. Put up your products or a few of your products and wait and see. Just don't expect sales right away. I might not have been doing it right as I never have been into social media, but I never did see any real increase in sales. All my sales, as far as I can tell, are from people that come to TPT and search for a product and pick mine among the list of products to check out and purchase. Social media was never a driver for my store, so I just stopped putting in the effort for it. Among the seller community, there are those that think it brings in customers and those that say that it does nothing really. For my store, for now, it's not a factor. I much rather spend my time making products than doing social media stuff anyway. Good products drive the store more than anything else. Teaching middle school for me is more fun in terms of the kids. They're a lot of fun. Teaching high school is fun in the sense that you're teaching higher level stuff, but high school students are kind of boring. Not all kids are brainwashed, and I took great pride in showing those kids a different perspective from the ones that they were brought into. For example, I taught at a private Catholic school. I can happily say that my students came out of my class with a solid understanding and appreciation of the processes of evolution by natural selection. Some parents and staff were not happy that I was teaching evolution. I was kind of a spy undermining the church from within their own ranks. Whenever we came from church, when the priest had said some nonsense, I would always have a discussion with my students explaining the actual scientific facts of the matter. Never did undermine the teachings of Jesus. It's all nonsense. The religious zealots would say that I made sure the students knew was not true. I used to care about the standards early in my career. No one ever checked, no one ever made sure they were actually being met in lessons. I soon stopped caring about meeting standards. Even in my store, I don't even mention standards. They change them every year and they're different, but yet the same from one district to another. It's just a form of bureaucracy, that's all. Just more busy work to make it look like administration is doing something. All teachers know this, so they just don't care. A teacher, a good teacher, knows what the students need to know. They don't need a list of arbitrary and beige standards to adhere to. This is especially true for math and science. Perhaps a history or art teacher would find state standards useful, I wouldn't know. I have no data as to what percentage of my customers are public school teachers as opposed to private school, charter school, subs, or homeschool parents. I wish I could know those numbers, as I would help a lot, but such data is not easily obtained. You could do it the old-fashioned way and just drop a poll on your site and see what the actual numbers are and extrapolate that. It won't be completely accurate, of course, but it'll at least give you some baseline to go off of if you need to retool your curriculum some. I need my own website for that. And I'm not ready for that yet. My store is hosted on TPT and they won't let a seller do something like that on their platform. Do you have any ideas about how you'd go selling this outside of an established platform? Not for education, but I do some work in a very niche medical tech area. I figure I could sell a how-to guides for boomers who can't research it all themselves. YouTube might be harder to get into. Maybe just an ebook on Amazon. Or maybe more detailed education/tutoring materials for people studying now. I would just be worried about copyright issues with using the actual names of these companies making the tech. Basically any transferable advice besides work hard and learn how to make materials? Interesting, I'm launching my first business now. Like yours, it took a while to build. We're 98% to MVP launch and I'm wondering, did you also get plagued by thoughts like what if no one uses it/buys it? Mine is a crypto app for gambling, by the way. It has a few cool features that are novel. We're banking on just being anonymous and impossible to shut down. No one wants to send their kids to school filled with violent joggers and deranged fools. Enter the Kumon. 2 hours per day, twice a week, and you come out with more relevant skills than the whole K-12 system and all the garbage you're fed and time you waste. Kumon is a great business too. It's literally a turnkey franchise that requires very little in overhead, preparation, and the students come in twice a week for an hour doing paperwork and being silent for the most part, while your workforce can be comprised of all high school part-timers that get paid a few $100 a month. There's nothing like it in terms of a neatly operating business that's literally part-time and filters out having to interact with the dumb and poor joggers. All the time. I still like that every now and then, but I remind myself of all the purchases I've gotten and the positive reviews I've gotten, so I must be doing something right. You'll never know if you don't try. That was my mentality when I started. Even if I fail, I know I tried and won't have to wonder what could have been. I don't have to answer to any government or school district. It's up to the individual teacher if they think my products are good enough to purchase and use. School admin talk a big game, but in truth they don't care what the teacher uses to teach or how they go about teaching. Some schools say they have banned TPT products, but that doesn't stop teachers from purchasing and using materials, because oftentimes the materials that the district provides to the teachers suck or they do not provide any materials at all. Here's an old outdated book, now teach. Read the thread. It's not as easy as just start making school books. TPT is loaded with failed and abandoned stores made by people that thought it would be an easy passive income source. Like 99% of stores on the site are just that.